Hello, welcome to my channel. My channel is a channel that is dedicated for contents on health and wellness. Have you been trying to implement dietary modification without success? Then it simply means you have been doing it the wrong way. Dietary modification is an approach that is mostly used either in weight management or the management of chronic conditions like hypertension and type 2 diabetes mellitus. So in this video today, we are going to explore how you can successfully implement this dietary modification either for weight management or for the management of chronic conditions. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe to this channel and hit on the bell notification icon such that when next I release another video, you will be notified. So in dietary modification, you will be asked to avoid certain types of foods and to consume only some particular foods. Now the problem is that in this part of the world, even the kind of foods that are mostly recommended for people that want to implement dietary modification, they are actually wrong on their own. The number one criteria in determining the type of food that somebody should eat when trying to implement dietary modification, either for weight management or management of chronic condition, is what is known as the glycemic index of food. Glycemic index is that ability of a particular food to spike or to cause a change in the blood sugar. There are some types of food that once you take them, immediately you consume them, something like white rice, immediately it spikes your blood sugar. So that kind of food will be said to have a high glycemic index. But there are some that even when you take them, they release their sugar content gradually, giving the body the ability or the opportunity to utilize what is being released for an extended period of time. And by so doing, the body will have limited or less amount of that sugar to store. So that these are the kind of foods that should be recommended. But because of limited knowledge or information about the subject matter, at times even professionals, even experts end up recommending even the wrong types of food for people that are trying to use this approach to manage their chronic conditions or for weight management. So for example, people that have type 2 diabetes mellitus, in most cases, they recommend that they should eat beans or they should eat flour or they should consume plantain. But if you look at those food ingredients, they themselves are carbohydrate heavy. If you take wheat, for example, put wheat side by side with maybe maize flour, you discover that the glycemic index are almost the same. Even with white rice, if you doubt what I'm saying, you can eat white rice and then check your blood sugar if you have a glucometer. Then after another time, you consume wheat, maybe wheat bread or something, and then you check your blood sugar, you discover that there is really no much difference. Because wheat is safe, is carbohydrate heavy. What about beans? The same thing. A lot of people believe that beans is proteinous. Well, in 100-gram measure of beans, you have only about 23 grams of protein, and you have over 60 grams of carbohydrate. So you can see that beans is safe, is carbohydrate heavy. So when you continue to consume such foods, and in your mind you are implementing dietary modification, you are actually not implementing dietary modification, because by consuming such foods, you are not going to succeed in your journey. So if such foods or such ingredients are recommended for you, either for weight management or management of chronic condition, then I have to be sincere to you, you have been lied to. So today I want to debunk those myths surrounding dietary modification. So instead of relying on food ingredients like beans, like wheat flour, there are other appropriate ingredients that can be considered outside those ones, because those ones contain little starch in them, and these are the kind of ingredients that will give you result. They have very low glycemic index. So why for the flours, you can consider things like eggplant flour. We also have coconut flour. We have tiger nut flour. Use those ones instead of wheat flour, and those ones are going to give you results because they contain little amount of carbohydrates in them. Another myth that I've seen again is they tell people that when it comes to food, you can consume anything. Well, I've come to tell you that that is not true. There's not all types of food that are good for dietary modification. For the kind of foods that you should eat, please consider foods that have less amount of fructose. Fructose is simply what is known as fruit sugar. So you can consume fruits like cucumbers, you can consume fruits like kiwi, you have apples, you have strawberries, you have blueberries, you have avocado, you have garden eggs. So such fruits are the ones that you should consider because they have less amount of fructose. Avoid fruits like banana, avoid fruits like mangoes, avoid fruits like watermelon, avoid fruits like pineapple. Those ones contain very high amount of fructose. So when you consume those ones, they are going to spike your blood sugar, which will lead to storage of excess sugar in the body, which is actually what you are trying to avoid. Another misconception that I've seen again is that they tell people to use honey instead of white sugar. Honey itself is not good when it comes to dietary modification. The thing about honey is that it contains very high amount of energy. So when you take it, it's going to supply high amount of energy to the body, thereby making the body not to consider utilizing what has been stored. So if the body is not utilizing the glucose that has been stored in the different stores in the body, that means those ones will remain there, and then the body mass index will remain high, and which is what you are trying to adjust. So honey itself is not good. So what do you now do? What do you now take in place of honey? You take zero calorie sweeteners. There are zero calorie sweeteners. Example is stevia. So when you take those zero calorie sweeteners, yes, they give you that taste of sweetness, but they don't provide any energy to the body. So that is why they call them zero calorie. So those are the kind of sweeteners that you should consider, not honey and not white sugar, if you are trying to implement dietary modification. So you may be wondering that, okay, does it mean that is all those flows that I'm going to eat when I'm implementing dietary modification? Because that is also one of the challenge, because most at times they give people limited options, maybe only 3 or 4 food ingredients, and then the person will be wondering, is that all that I have to consume for the rest of my life? That's actually not true. There are several other things that you can take. So if you are somebody that likes eating rice, and then you are on a journey of dietary modification, you still want to consume rice, yes, there is a provision for you. You take what is known as basmati rice. Basmati rice is a rice that has very low glycemic index. So when you take it, it is not going to impact negatively on your blood sugar. So you stop eating white rice and then you eat basmati rice. Other things that you can eat is to take things like boiled egg. Those are proteinous foods. You consume a lot of boiled eggs, you eat a lot of meat, whether it is beef, it is poultry, or or even fish. So you can take fried, you can take roasted, whichever way you want it. But those foods, they don't contain any amount of carbohydrate in them. And so when you take them, they are not going to create any impact on your blood sugar. They are also not going to spike or trigger the release of insulin in the body. So that is why they are very, very okay to be considered in trying to implement dietary modification. Another thing again is to eat nuts. Nuts are nutrient dense foods. For example, you take peanuts, you take cashew nuts, you take almonds, they are nutrient dense, meaning that if you eat a little, it's going to give you that feeling of satiety, that feeling of fullness for an extended duration. So you are not going to resort to eating other types of ingredients or craving other things that will also affect your journey of implementing dietary modification. We also have other things like Greek yogurt. It's just that this one you have to take them with sweeteners, not with sugar. So you take Greek yogurt, you can take tea with sweetener, without milk, of course, just black tea. And there are several other things that you can take. As a matter of fact, if you are on this journey of dietary modification, almost every type of food that you used to crave, you can have an alternative of it. You can have the one that you can replace it. Just go for the one that has a very low glycemic index. Not those ones that they used to recommend for people, because especially wheat, because wheat itself is not good for the system. It's carbohydrate heavy. Now, there is an approach. There is something that you can even do, even for the food with very high glycemic index. There is a natural ingredient that God has given us that you can actually use to even reduce the glycemic index of those carbohydrate heavy foods. What is this ingredient I'm talking about? I'm talking about cinnamon. So if you are craving a particular food, maybe white rice or something, and you feel you must eat it, even while you are implementing this dietary modification, just look for cinnamon. You either make the tea or you prepare it like a spice. So when you are eating your rice, maybe your fried rice, you just put it on the rice as just add it to the rice as a spice, and then you consume it. Or you make a tea with it, and then you take the tea along with the food. Now, cinnamon has the ability to drop the glycemic index by as much as 20%. So instead of that food going straight and loading the bloodstream with sugar, because of the presence of cinnamon is going to drop the glycemic index, and then the sugar content will be released gradually over time. As it's being released, then the body is utilizing it. So with cinnamon, you even have the advantage of even being able to consume the foods with very high glycemic index. But with addition of cinnamon, you are going to drop the glycemic index of it. There's also another ingredient that is very common that you can take, and it has a very low glycemic index, whether it's for weight management or for the management of type 2 diabetes mellitus. And it is what is called fonio. On the northern part of Nigeria, they call it acha. So this fonio is very good. It has a very low glycemic index. You can use it, you can prepare swallow with it, you can prepare pottage with it, and you can consume it without it impacting negatively on your blood sugar level. So if you are someone that has been trying to implement dietary modification, either for weight management or for the management of chronic ailment without success, now that you have learned the reason why you have not been able to succeed, which is that you have been doing it the wrong way, try and implement all that you have learned today. Replace those your wheat and beans with ingredients like fonio, like basmati rice, coconut flour, and so on and so forth. And then you are going to start seeing results in your journey of trying to implement dietary modification. If you have found value in this video today, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to share this content with a friend who might need this information. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you are new, and hit on the bell notification icon such that when next I release another video, you'll be notified. If I come your way again next time, you take care of yourself.